self-serving, persuasive talkers
of everything and nothing.
We are Conversation Con Artists.
What's going on, people? It's your boy, Mr. On Point.
And I am Calamity Red.
And we are Conversation Con Artists, back for another wonderful, fantastic episode. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Mr. MISTER_on point, and at TikTok at Eddie B Talking and Eddie B Eating.
I could be found on Instagram at red_calamity. If you have a Reddit letter or comment or anything you like for us to comment, news even that you like for us to comment on, you can send it to our Gmail account, which is conversationconartists@gmail.com, or you can find us on the aforementioned social media. And I think we do have a letter, but let me explain what the fuck happened last week before we get into these letters. So we missed last week again because of me. And I'm doing this as kind of like a PSA so black people that are listening, open your ears. So I have not had health problems, other than like my chronic sinus issues. Like that's probably been the worst thing that I've had. So about a month ago, I went to the doctor, and my blood pressure was high, and both of my parents take medication for blood pressure. It runs on both sides of my family. And so the doctor was like, it may just be genetic, but your blood pressure is high. So he gave me a month to try to get it down. So for the month of April, I was doing shit in the background. I got some beetroot extract. That was what On Point was talking about that time. He was talking about we the age where we're sharing medication things. The beetroot extract was for this particular issue. So I did all of this shit for the month. I was exercising more and walking the dog and, looking at my salt intake. And I had to buy a blood pressure reader to read my blood pressure over the course of the month. Could not get the shit down. Nothing I did, couldn't get the shit down. So I go back to the doctor for my follow-up visit. And he was like, yeah, we're going to have to put you on a medication. Now, mind you, my mother had a very terrible allergic reaction to lisinopril, which is a widely prescribed blood pressure medication. And she had been taking it for like 15 years, and then just randomly it fucked her up. And everybody in our family that has taken that medication has had her. I didn't even recognize my mom. Her face was so swollen. So, of course, when he starts talking blood pressure medication, I tell him this. I say, hey, my mom and her siblings have all had a severe allergic reaction to lisinopril. He said, okay. So he put me on a combination medicine called, I think it's like Lotrek, but basically it's a combination of the medicine amlodipine and a medicine called benazepril. And he was like, these two medicines work really good and they're going to really get your blood pressure down and blah, blah, fucking blah. So I was like, cool. Get the prescription filled on a Friday. Start taking the medicine. So I took one Friday and I took one Saturday morning. By 5 o'clock Saturday evening, my fucking mouth was swelling. Like the left side of my lip, my top lip was just big. I went to sleep, woke up, the shit was swollen. And I was like, what the fuck is this? At first I thought like maybe something bit me on my lip when I was asleep. But it kept getting worse. It spread to where I look like some fucking, I don't even know how to, I look crazy. Like if I ever got lip fillers and did it too much, this is what it would probably look like.
It got bad, y'all.
It got really fucking bad.
If my face ever looked like that, I wouldn't show nobody. Red is bold though. She's a message like, oh shit. But also, if I was coming to pick you up potentially to take you to the hospital, and I would have need to have seen you first.
Yes, because you would have freaked out.
Yeah.
So I was calling around trying to get it because I was like, at first I wasn't gonna go to the fucking emergency room, but then when it kept swelling and my tongue started swelling, I was like, fuck, I gotta go to the emergency room. So shout out to Shogun from Government Name Podcast. He was the one that took me to the ER. Let me tell y'all something about On Point though, and so I haven't said this to him yet, so this is news to him. Negro, your need to understand things knows no bounds. When I called him because he lives like not far from me when he's in town, but he wasn't in town. And was telling him what was going on. He was like, well, you took the medicine yesterday. Why didn't it swell up yesterday? And I'm like, I don't fucking know. It's swollen today. But he was like, well, it doesn't make any sense that it wouldn't have swollen yesterday if you were going to have an allergic reaction. Like, you have to understand things that don't make sense to you.
Well, so in my head, the first thing I asked myself was who fucked up. So it wasn't even like trying to generally understand. I was trying to create the system of accountability, because it's like at the point that like you having an allergic reaction when you already gave me the whole spiel about your mama having an allergic reaction before you even got the medication.
Yep.
And so I was like, somebody fucked up. So that was the route I was trying to go. I was like, okay, so I was trying to understand the process, because I was like, is this a doctor who did this shit? Was this an accident? Did this motherfucker do this on purpose? Because again, you had the information to give people so that this wouldn't happen.
Yes,
So,
I did.
I'm sure I do this all the time, but this time it was like somebody need to fucking suffer.
So Shogun come and get me, take me to the ER. We get there. As soon as I walk in, now remember I told y'all the medicine that my mom had the reaction to was called lisinopril. As soon as I walk into the ER, the lady at the desk was like, lisinopril. I was like, no, but it is an allergic reaction to a medication. So that lets you know how widely spread this is. Okay, like people having this response to this particular set of blood pressure medications. So this is the first time I'm ever like, I wasn't even in the waiting room 30 minutes because I was having an active allergic reaction. So they just went ahead and got me on back. That was another reason I didn't want to go to the ER. I didn't been to the ER before and been there sitting there for fucking 8 hours or some shit, some crazy shit. So, but because I was actively still swelling, they just went ahead and got me back. They had to put an IV in my arm and start giving me all this medicine. It was like a whole thing. So the doctor comes in and he's like, asking me what I took, and I told him, and he was like, and I told him I said, well, he didn't give me the lisinopril. I know that has a bad reaction because my mom had a reaction. He was like, well, if you told him that, he shouldn't have given you benazepril either. So basically, Black people, African Americans have a sensitivity to something called an ACE inhibitor, and lisinopril has an ACE inhibitor in it. And benazepril is an ACE inhibitor. And so the ER doctor was like, if you told him that, he shouldn't even prescribe this to you, because basically he just prescribed you the cousin of the medicine that made your mom's face swell up. He was like, African Americans have a sensitivity to ACE inhibitors. He was like, any medication that ends in PRIL, like pril, he was like, don't take that. Don't ever take that. Anything that ends in that, because this isn't a reaction to the ACE inhibitor. And I'm like, this, mind you, because I wanted to go home, so they had a second doctor come in and give a second opinion after I had been there. It was like, we left at probably about 1:00 in the morning, Sunday morning. But they had a second doctor come in because basically liability, because I was like, basically, I don't want to stay in this motherfucker. Can I go home? And so he had to have another doctor come in to look me over and say if it was safe for me to go home, because mind you, my face was still fucking swollen. It wasn't continuing to swell, but it was still swollen. And the other doctor came in, like, everybody know, okay? Everybody in the hospital, everybody I talked to that night was like, yep, Black people, ACE inhibitors shouldn't do that. So Sunday, they gave me all this medication that I needed to take for the allergic reaction, because mind you, my face is still fucking huge. My regular, I usually go to Sam's Club for the pharmacy, and they weren't open on Sunday, so I just went to CVS. A white pharmacist in CVS had the same goddamn conversation with me about how this is a regular occurring thing, a reaction and response in Black people to this particular class of drugs. And she would caution me to make sure that I told my regular pharmacy about the allergic reaction so that they could put a alert in my file so that this doesn't happen again. All right, all this had, get the medicine, whatever. Called my doctor back on Monday. Tell them what happened. They were like, oh, we'll get you in this afternoon. So get an appointment to go see him. And I go and I'm like, Doc, I just spent the weekend in the fucking ER because of the medicine you gave me. This motherfucker did not take no accountability. Okay. What he said was, oh, you had like a 1 in a million response to this medication. Like, that just does not happen. And I was like, that's not what everybody else in the medical field that I've talked to here recently has fucking said about this. They actually said the opposite. They said that this class of medication is known to have a negative response in African Americans. He was like, no, I've not had any client. Well, I mean, I don't know how many black clients you have, doc, but what I'm telling you is everybody that I've encountered, with the exception of you, knew that this was a bad idea from jump. He was like, no, this is a very rare reaction and we'll put it in your chart so that this doesn't happen again. And then he prescribed me amlodipine by itself, which is what my mom takes now, and which is what everybody that I've talked to that take blood pressure medicine basically takes that medicine. And I'm like, if the medicine existed by its goddamn self, why wouldn't you have just prescribed me that shit in the first place? Now I got an ER bill that I gotta fucking pay because you fucked up and you don't even want to take accountability for this shit. And this goes into why black people don't fucking trust the medical profession. Because y'all don't listen. And y'all just do whatever the fuck you want to do. There's no reason that should have happened. I tell people that ain't even fucking on point do about my mom's reaction to fucking lisinopril. Like, so I tell people, it's not like I didn't say nothing. I let him know. And he still prescribed me this medicine that could have fucking killed me. The ER doctor was like, the worst response that they've seen was somebody whose tongue and throat swelled so bad that they had to cut a trach in their throat for them to fucking breathe until they could get the swelling down. Like, that's how serious of a reaction this shit can be. And it's like, that shit pissed me all the way off. So that's what happened last week and why we didn't record, because my face was swollen as shit and I felt like shit. I'm better now. My face is back to facing the way it normally does. And I finished up the medication. The medication had me fucked up though. This whole week has been terrible. I've been sleeping. When I went at work, I was sleeping because it just made me so groggy. And I had to do a whole week worth of medication to get rid of the goddamn response. The blood pressure medicine that I'm on now has my blood pressure down. So I guess that's good. But black people, listen, you really, really have to like self-advocate, because some of these doctors don't give a fuck. Like, and I'm not saying that it's all white doctors, because like I said, everybody that I've encountered, everybody in this story that I just told, all of the medical professionals, all of them are white. There was only one of them who fucked up. Everybody else was like, yeah, this is a regular, yep, he shouldn't have done that. Like, everybody else was cool. But that one doctor, fuck him. Fuck that guy. So yeah, I just cautionary tale. Black people, don't let somebody, if you get told you have high blood pressure, which hypertension is very, common in the African American community, make sure that you researching this shit. And ACE inhibitors seem to be a no-go. Talk to your doctor about that. Question him about that. You're gonna have to like self-advocate and say, hey, let's talk about this specific thing, because otherwise you're gonna be fucked up in the game. Like I was. Fucking bullshit, man. It is fucking bullshit. Trash ass doctor.
Bruh.
So that was my experience last week.
It ain't no way where you can like report that type stuff.
I mean, I would have to prove that I told him, because he could just say she didn't say anything, but I would have to prove that he knew. And I guess there's no way for him to for sure have known that would have had that response. Like, suing him would be hard, because that's what my mom was like, you need to get a lawyer. She was livid. She was pissed. Because it was no reason for me to have gone through this, because she's gone through this, and literally all of her siblings have had negative responses to their blood pressure medications where they face swole up. Like, I had a coworker at one of my old jobs. They prescribed her lisinopril. She's black, and she was out of work because her fucking face swole up. Like, it's just no reason that this should have occurred. at all. But I don't know that I have any legal action that I could take against the doctor. Um, I'd have to prove malice intent probably.
Well, I mean, it might not even need necessarily. I mean, considering that you don't believe it can be the case, then maybe it don't even have to be the case of lawsuit type shit. You know, maybe just like medical accountability, where it's like reporting to the top of the hospital. You know, I don't know. I don't know how many black people have come back with this doctor and been prescribed this medication, because it's one of two things. Either he don't know what the fuck he doing, or he don't care that he's prescribing black people a medication that has a likeliness to, you know, give them angioedema, whatever that shit called.
That's what it's called, yeah.
Yeah. Like, something's happening.
Yeah.
And for him to be so calloused as to believe, oh no, this is rare. If the hospital knew, wait, this ain't fucking rare. You know it. Everybody know it. You just told that patient that. But like, watch your fucking self.
Yeah.
Quit prescribing, like, you know this shit ain't real for black people for these particular ACE inhibitors. So calm the fuck down.
Yeah.
Okay. She ain't suing you and you fucking lucky. But she did come here to tell us so you can get some fucking oversight accountability. That I mean, it might be the case that like he know he fucked up, the hospital know he lied, and somebody like you might be a list of people who done spoke about this doctor doing that shit.
Yeah.
So I would, if there's a way to motherfucking tell them niggas about theyself, a process by which you can like just make sure that doctors being held accountable for this shit.
Yeah, because I mean, the next person might not be so lucky. I had a mild, in comparison to what it could have been, allergic reaction. But like somebody could come in there and fucking, you could die from that shit. Like your throat, all of that shit swell up and you can't breathe. And if you don't get to the emergency room quick enough, you can die. Like that shit ain't. And I don't know if it's because, let me see. I didn't even look, but let me look real quick. I've worked in not doctors' offices, but I worked where there were psychiatrists, and I don't know if that's. I know that the pharmacy rep people come around pushing certain medications. It was Lotrel. That's what it was. How old is this medicine? Is it new? I can't see. Because I know sometimes like it benefits them to start prescribing a certain new medication. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if that's why he was pushing it. Oh wait, was that a recall thing? Something about a recall. There was a recall. This was in 2018. Anyway, yeah. I don't know what his motivation was for doing this shit, but just at self-advocacy, don't just let them tell you shit, you know. I was listening out for lisinopril because I knew that, but I didn't know that there could be medications that were within. I mean, I know medications that exist within the same drug class, but why would I think he would fucking give me that? Like, you know, why would you do that? But he did. So, yeah. I just wanted to be a bit of a PSA. Just kind of be mindful. Research shit. Some of these doctors don't give a fuck. And I apparently encountered one. And it's crazy because I went to him because the primary care physician I had before him was this hippie ass white lady that was like giving out hugs and shit when I went in there. So I had to find a new doctor because that shit wasn't gonna fly. She literally would hug you when you came. Like, bitch, get off me. First of all, why are you hugging sick people? Don't nobody come in here because they're healthy. You're a doctor. You hug everybody that come in here? I don't even know you. I don't hug people that I love. I'm not gonna hug you, stranger lady. So he was who I got after dealing with the hippie lady. So anyway, that's what happened last week. Was my fault, but I wanted everybody to hear the story just so that just be mindful, man. Gotta be careful out here. Gotta be careful out here. But I'm good now.
All right. That's your story. This
Yes.
is my story. I was out of town. I went to go visit my grandmama for her birthday. Well, she really just wanted some cupcakes, so I took her some cupcakes. I spent my whole trip down there on a TikTok live because I don't got time to deal with hang out with old niggas. I mean, if she ain't cooking, then I'm booking. You know what I'm saying? And she getting old. You know what I'm saying? Granny's probably on her way out. You know, maybe some years or whatever, but her back is to the point where it hurt and steroids ain't helping. But my daddy came down too, and he seemed to be out of it, man. He didn't seem to be himself. Lost some more weight.
Is he sick?
I mean, he been sick as a
But, I
whole
mean,
with the bladder cancer, but
Yeah. Has it progressed?
when I left, it was gone. But the way bladder cancer works and any kind of stomach cancer where it grows in the lining, it's not that you can get rid of it. Well, any cancer is like this because the reason that cancer forms in your body is that your body meets the conditions for cancer to grow. So even if you get rid of cancer, that's the threat of it coming back because your body meets all the conditions for it to grow. And that is a higher rate for bladder cancer. Like you can't ever get rid of bladder cancer. It's going to come back. And the 2 times that it's come back for him, it's been very aggressive. So not ideally, but probably going to come back aggressive next time. And then, his wife, made a comment about, I had brought them the wrong cupcakes because my dad don't like cupcakes with the sprinkles and stuff on it. He just like them straight icing.
They weren't
And I
for
grabbed-
him. They were for your granny.
Say what?
They
Oh
weren't
no,
for him.
I made enough. I called you and asked you if you wanted some. I just made a shitload of cupcakes.
Yeah, but you made them for your granny.
No, I made my granny the amount that she asked me to make her.
Oh, and you just made a bunch of extra ones?
Yeah, I made a bunch of extra ones because I knew my daddy then was gonna be down there. I knew that I was gonna, go to the radio. It was like, okay, I could take a bunch of different people some cupcakes. So I made extra cupcakes, and I took some down to my daddy and his wife, and she made a comment about, well, he probably ain't gonna eat these cupcakes. He hadn't been eating that much lately, and I'm like, we need to see about this. Like, what does this mean? Because this lady, nothing against her, man. She's all right, I guess, but. We are a family. She is 2 years older than me. She just came into my family system, married my daddy.
That's right.
He already damn near isolated because he don't deal with nobody. Now it's just her, who, mind you, is going to have the bag after he die. If she stick with him until he die, she probably going to get all his money. And when my daddy left Bluebird Bus Company in 2007, they gave him a $400,000, exit fee or whatever, whatever they call it, exit package. He put every penny of that $400,000 into an IRA stock account. And he told my brother that he giving all of that to her when he died. And I was like, bro, that's so much money.
It's so much money.
And you know what? I had to confront the idea that like we ain't worth enough to him. Like a stranger is worth so much more to him. I mean, she's not a stranger at this point, but at the point that he made that decision, she only been in his life for 5 months. You know what I'm saying? But and that's that internal stuff that I had to confront about the fact that, I learned about my daddy that he does not value men. He values women in a lot of different capacities, romantic, sibling, all capacities. He don't fuck with men. He don't care about men. And I think that his struggle has been to figure out how to care about me and my brother as men. But he don't give a fuck about men, like, period. But like that's something I had to reckon with. But I don't know. I was just saying that to say, like, that trip was weird. My mama, she's doing a whole nonprofit thing. I really don't even want to get into that. She had a event on that weekend. She did a 2-day women's retreat, and I went to go help her, and she was just irritated because the people was tripping. Oh my God, it was a lot. Anyway, that's why I couldn't take you to the hospital. I would have took Red to the hospital.
Oh yeah. He was just out of town. The order of my calls was my cousin who was in Georgia because he was out of town. On Point, Shogun. If Shogun couldn't have took me, Cole Jackson would have probably been the next one. Chris would have been, or Leroy Ketchum would have been last because he got a family and shit. So like, I don't want. He got 2 kids, a new baby and shit. So he would have been the very last person just because I don't be wanting to fuck with his shit. I know he got a lot going on. But I had a list. I was just working my way down the fucking list because I'm glad I didn't drive myself because at the time I could have. It wasn't bad enough. I wasn't like woozy and no shit like that. However, they would have definitely made me stay overnight because they wouldn't have let me drove myself. So thankfully I had somebody there with me so I could take my black ass home because I was not trying to spend overnight in no fucking ER and then put me in a room and all of that shit. No. So, but yeah, I had a list. I was working my way down the list. But everybody was fucking busy. Well, the first 2 people were busy. Like I said, my cousin was in Georgia and you were in Lynette. So yeah, Shogun could have been out of town. He had been working out of town. So, like I said, I was just gonna work my way down the list. I would have taken myself if I had to. My mom was like, do I need to come up? First of all, you're an hour away. Okay. First of all. Secondly, no, because my mom's not good with directions and shit, and I just don't like dealing with her when she don't know where she's going, and she's terrified of driving in Birmingham. I don't even live in Birmingham anymore. The traffic over here is not even bad, and she still has trouble with that shit. It would have just been us fucking arguing. Like, no, I don't want you to come and take me. I will find somebody else. Don't worry about it. That would have just been terrible if she had attempted to come. But it worked out. I'm good now. Just wanted to share that for anybody listening. Just to share information, man. ACE inhibitors do not do well with African Americans as a general rule. So just be mindful of that shit. But we have a letter from someone.
We do.
We got it last week, and girl, I'm sorry. This is why we didn't do it last week.
Yeah.
Because I was swollen.
It took her a minute to because she sent me the link, but the link didn't come up properly. It just sent me the link to the website, which is Quora. Do you use that website?
No. I mean, I've seen it, but I don't know how to use it.
Quora. I don't know how to really say that shit.
That's how it looked like it would be said.
But Senora Canello on Twitter. Miss Cinnamon.
Is it a Reddit letter?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know. Well, it's a Reddit letter, but I mean it's a letter, but it's not from on Reddit. It's on Quora. And I use Quora. I got like a Quora membership.
Is it
I bought it by accident.
What is it? What is it?
It's kind of like Reddit, but for information. It's like people ask questions, and it's just you just answer the question. People spend years answering these questions and updating the information on.
Okay.
Mind you, I bought the subscription by accident. It wasn't no purpose. But there are groups in here that I follow that have some really, really good information about shit that I've been, talking about on TikTok, patriarchy, and it's a lot of good vantage points on feminism and all of that shit. So I got a membership for that specific reason. Well, I got an initial membership for that specific reason. Again, I did not intend to buy it. I'm the sucker that keep these people's giving free trials. I'm the sucker because I will fuck around and not cancel that shit until the day after it done. Once I look at my bank account, I'll be like, $35. What is that? I ain't canceled that fucking membership.
I put I'm cheap. I put notifications in my calendar to let me know when I need to fucking.
No, I usually, because if you go cancel it immediately, like even after you start the trial, if you go cancel immediately, it still let you go through the whole trial. Just if I ever forget to cancel it immediately, I'm going to pay for the trial. And I've done that twice. Did it again with another one called Ground News. Ground.news is supposed to be a website that shows how left or right leaning the article is. It highlights who or what party is talking about what issues. If this party has spoken on this one, if that party, but it basically isolates all of the news organizations into they tribes, and it isolates how they're being reported. It verifies the accuracy of the information depending on who's reporting it. And so I was like, oh, this sounds like a cool service. Let me see what they do. I got it for a year now, so I'm gonna have to use it but yeah, they got me. As soon as I saw that charge, I went and canceled that shit. Like, damn, another year. But at least it cost $29.99. It ain't like a motherfucker cost $80. I wouldn't even do that one if it costs $80 because I know myself too much for that. That what happened with my YouTube subscription because I did YouTube TV to watch a TV show my brother was in.
That shit is like $80 a month.
It is,
Shit,
but 5 people can share that bitch. So if 4 of y'all motherfuckers want to get together and goddamn pay $18, $19 a month for this goddamn YouTube TV shit, we can do it.
Is it like where you can free stream? Is it like no commercials?
It's a lot
or
of
is it like cable.
It's like half stream, half cable. So everything on there, if it play during like if the show you like come on at 7:00, you can watch that show at 7:00. But you can also go back and watch all of the episodes too. So yeah. But it's like regular TV. Okay. It's crazy how this shit circled all the way back around. Now motherfuckers finna need Fire Sticks again.
Mm-hmm.
Since everybody done took all of their TV shows and movies off of the main streaming services and then put them on their own shit.
Little individual shit. That shit's
like the shit you used to be able to find on Netflix and Hulu. Now you gotta have fucking Peacock, you gotta have Freevee, you gotta have Tubi, you gotta have all of these motherfuckers, just to watch a regular ass show that you used to be able to just watch on Netflix or Hulu. But Disney Plus, you gotta have all these different individual Paramount.
Stupid.
It's like, so if you pay for all of those, all of this shit just circle back around to just paying for cable again.
Yeah, pretty much.
Defeat the purpose.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was a lot. But now I'm about to read this letter.
Okay.
That Miss Cinnamon sent us. Thank you, Miss Cinnamon, again. If I said thank you already, because if I didn't, then it's not again. It's just thank you. But my 20-year-old daughter. This is a long letter too.
God, okay.
If it's long and she sent it to us, that means it's good. So this is probably going to be a serious conversation. My 20-year-old daughter wants to move in with us until she is finished with college. She says she will pay the bills, but she is a grown adult. How do I tell her that adults leave the nest?
She's 20. What? You sound like a bitch already.
Yeah.
Your 20-year-old daughter who's educating herself in college wants to stay with you until she finishes college, and you got a fucking problem with that? That's already too much.
Yeah, it is.
Before you even read the rest of it, ma'am.
Yeah,
it ain't like she's just sitting at the house on your couch playing fucking video games all the goddamn day. She's going to school. You know how expensive like living on campus is, how tuition and like, bitch. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm already leaning towards fuck you as well. But this ain't necessarily am I the asshole. I guess they just asking a question. Mm-hmm. But let's go. I hope you read my reply because I immediately knew where. Wait a minute.
Is that an update?
No, I mean it's what's right under the question. It sounds like somebody's answering the question. Hold on.
So was that the whole letter was just that?
It's just that it looks like what's under that question is not the person asking the question. It looks like it's somebody responding to the question. Hold on, let me make sure I'm doing this right. Okay, well, I'm going to assume that this is what she wanted us to read anyway. I hope you read my reply because I immediately knew where your daughter is coming from, and I hope you don't make the same mistake my own mother did. I'm the eldest child of my parents, and I was made to get a job at 14 part-time and started paying half my wage. It was $80 back in the day of no minimum wage for kids to make sure I understood the value of money and As my hours and pay increased over the years, my parents scaled my rent with my wages. I graduated high school having just turned 17. I skipped a grade year level, and so when I started university, college for you Americans, I was also 17 and moved to the North Island from New Zealand, South Island, where I lived most of my life, and the capital city, Wellington, into a hall of residence. I was again made to get a job to pay the difference my student loans gave me, and if there was still a shortfall, my parents said they would only match what I earned from my part-time job. Unfortunately, I had been diagnosed with Graves' disease at the end of my last school year, and that few months between diagnosis and starting the university year, a uni and the schools run matching the calendar year as of June through August is winter, December to March-ish is summer. This was not sufficient enough time to recover. City-destroying earthquakes in that same year, aka early 2011, Feb 2011 was the quake that killed about 188 people and injured some 5,000, which occurred in the middle of my first lecture. Also happened, and I was greatly affected by being away from my city family church as I was 17, yes, but quite immature due to undiagnosed autism spectrum disorder, and I ended up flunking out by mid-year, too depressed and sick and lonely to leave my dorm room. I came home to live with my parents after it became clear that I couldn't complete semester 2. At that time, I had just turned 18, and whilst my parents had always told me how expensive I was, especially as a teen, my mom ramped up way more when I moved home due to being sick and depressed. My rent quadrupled, and she took great pains to remind me I was here only under sufferance because adult children shouldn't live with their parents. They need to leave the nest, hence why your phrasing hit me with its similarities. I think I lived there for another 7 months whilst I recovered, but I searched until I found a part-time job and another and worked 3 jobs until I could work a single full-time job, then moved out, and after a few years eventually moved away back to Wellington until COVID hit. My flat wasn't renewed, so I had little to no choice but to move back to Christchurch, and it was so last minute that I had no other choice but to move back into my parents' house temporarily while searching for a flat of my own. During which I was also going through a kind of soft bankruptcy due to the debt side accrued previously due to unavoidable specialized healthcare and operations, so I had very little financial means. What didn't help is that I was, despite being almost 30, constantly treated like a child and reminded multiple times a day that I wasn't welcome to stay and that I was a burden as an adult living with my parents, which was made sure to know multiple times a day that I was only there under sufferance. My mom has always said, "I'm not your friend, I'm your mother," and used it as an excuse to treat me like shit. I love her, but our relationship is complicated, and this greatly magnified in those few weeks I was there. I was desperate to move out, like my mom was too, despite my increasingly poor health, and that I was not only facing bankruptcy, but also losing my job too, as I was too sick and depressed to work properly. I had hoped she would be kinder given the circumstances and that 60% of children between 25 and 35 now still live with their parents in the USA and similar stats in NZ, but nope. Anyway, I finally did find a place, and it was one that I have no doubt was heaven sent. It's close to everything I needed with a lovely back flat neighbor and a great landlord, and I'm still there now. I did, however, make one rule. It was a rule that after I had moved in, my mother was not allowed to step foot into my house unless she would both apologize for treating me as an unwelcome guest in her house, and only if she then shut her mouth while in my house regarding making comments about my junk, books I enjoy collecting, and the organized wool, fabric, and crafting supplies that I have a lot of, sure, but that I use in my various active creative hobbies, which she also looks down on, like me knitting all the time. So far, she has done neither and therefore not allowed in my house. She moans about it, but when I bring up how unwelcome I was in her house, she gets incredibly mad, but can do nothing about it as she refuses to apologize. I can tell it galls her, but I took a stand for my own mental health. I remind her that it didn't have to be like this, but she traumatized me by making me feel like I had no secure home for almost 15 years now, and now that I make my own secure home, I'm choosing not to invite her inside as is my right to preserve this safety. Just like it was her right to kick me out for being too old to live in her house, it created lasting trauma no matter my age, where I suddenly felt unloved and unwelcome just due to becoming a teenager. I was also undiagnosed as being on the spectrum, like I said, so I'm more immature than others my age. Yes, I admit, but still, if any of you want your children to feel unsafe, unvalued, and unloved, go ahead and kick out your vulnerably aged adult children. But if you want to show them you care, explain to them why you struggle with them in the house and help them move out slowly, making sure they know you're not trying to get rid of them so as much as you're helping them progress in life, and make sure they know they always have a place at home if they need it. They might be adults, but they are still your children. That never goes away. And if you shared your role as a parent, don't expect them to want to remain your children. That's it.
What the fuck? Jesus. Okay. I really, because I've had this happen with clients before. I really have a problem with parents who make kids with jobs pay bills in the fucking house. That is your goddamn job as their parent. Now, making them pay for certain things that they want that are not necessities, making them to learn how to save up and get stuff. Cool. That is cool. But no child, teenager should be paying no water bill, no light bill, none of that fucking shit. That's your job as their parent. There are ways for you to teach them responsibility without you making them burden or shoulder the burden of paying for like the necessities that you're responsible for as their fucking parent. First of all, that's first. Hate that shit. Don't do that. Like, let them pay for some extra shit that they want that you not willing to pay. Like, you could, there are ways for you can to help them learn how to be responsible with their money without giving them a bill in the house. That don't make no sense to me. I hate that. And then two, saying it's one thing if your kid is in your house playing video games, not working, doing nothing, and you saying, oh, you too old to be in here. But like when your child is trying to better themselves and you can help them by giving them somewhere to stay while they go to school, while they save up to get there. Like, I don't understand. Why would you? That's just so fucked up. I don't understand why that would be. And then when they finally get their own place, after you've been treating them like a goddamn homeless person in their own home of residence, you want to go to their house and tell them what the fuck they supposed to do. Bitch, you don't get out of here. I do what I want in this motherfucker. Okay? You can't come in here and tell me shit. Because remember, you wanted me so badly to get my own shit. So I have my own stuff. So you come in here and either shut up or don't come in here. The audacity for the mom to be coming in trying to tell them what the fuck to do. Like, girl, you don't get your ass out of here. If you don't go on somewhere. Don't do that to your kid. They are not responsible for paying the bills in your fucking house. Like I said, you want to make them help pay for some prom stuff. You want to help, they need to buy their own Zelda Tears of the Kingdom because that comes out Friday. I pre-ordered it because they had this voucher thing with Nintendo where you could, for $99, buy 2 games. Tears of the Kingdom is like $70 by itself. So I still got a voucher left to use for something else, but I don't know what I'm going to use it for. Neither here nor there. But like extra shit like that. Cool. Sure. You want to get the newest pair of J's? I ain't willing to pay for that shit. But if you want to pay for it with your money from your cool. Water bill though? Electricity? That ain't that fucking kid's job.
You know what I think?
I went to back with some parents about that shit. Stop doing that shit, bro. That shit is crazy.
I think that there is a miscalculation that a lot of people have when it comes to parenting, who are not those parents. I think that there's a group of people that calculate parents as all really loving and giving a fuck about their kids. But to me, when I hear a story like this, I hear a parent who don't really care about their kid. Like they care out of necessity. Like, I go to jail if I don't care. I get some consequences if I don't, participate in your upkeep, but I really don't give a fuck about a connection with you. And I feel like that about parents who say shit like, I'm not your friend, I'm your parent. Because you don't have to be somebody's friend to be close enough to them to have a strong bond. And I think parents who do that shit are parents who either don't want to bond with their kids or they weren't the kind of kids that had a bond nurtured with their parents and they believe that that's the role that a parent's supposed to take. Because I had a parent like, I ain't your little friend. And I like, I don't want them to think they're going to be my friend. And I like, why would your child ever think that you were their friend? Like, they got friends and they know that you ain't that. So why would you think they would think you're that because of something you do? You still got to discipline them. You still got to whoop them. You clearly still the person who got there being yelling and shit at them. That I ain't your friend. And so like, what make you think that they want to be your friend? Like, what make you think that you friend worthy? Your friends probably don't want to be your fucking friend. So let alone the child that you've been treating crazy. But a lot of people calculate that like, oh, it's a parent. They must love their child. I mean, love and like are 2 different things. And then love and like and being functional for that child, another different thing. So, man, I don't like nothing about that story.
No.
Because, again, it creates trauma for a motherfucker. I also don't believe in making your kids pay bills. Now, if your child want to help you, like I helped my mama because, I used to work a lot when I was in high school. And I used to get like $400-500 checks every 2 weeks. and my mama was struggling. So I would give my mama some money, you know, for no reason. My mama never asked me for money, never expected me to give her money because I had a job.
Yeah.
You know, she gave me the ability to do what I wanted with my money, and I just used some of it to help. When you make that shit an obligation, you are throwing a child into some semblance of adulthood that they need to be spending time in their childhood enjoying just being a fucking kid and not having the responsibilities. Like, you are some kind of dick of a parent if you have your child participating in adult practices 3 years before they are adult. They're going to be an adult from 18 until they fucking die.
Yes.
Dealing with their own responsibilities with parents like you, because you ain't finna help them. You had them helping your ass. The only way that I've told parents that I will accept you taking bill money is if any money you take from your child, when they leave your house, you give it back to them.
Yeah.
Like, if you legitimately need your child's help, you've went wrong somewhere. And that's not to say that there aren't poverty-stricken environments that do that, but like in the white communities I work in, there are some families that only calculate their children getting into the workforce and helping the family out. They don't think about college, trade school. They don't think about none of that shit. You know, and it's like me. First off, I feel like if I had a kid, which I don't want a kid, but I feel like if I had a kid, me and that little motherfucker would be tight as shit. I feel like we would be cool. The only thing would be is if they're anything like me, they gonna want to be by themselves all the time. But when we together though, when we going out to eat, and when I'm cooking and showing them shit in the kitchen, we gonna be tight as fuck. I believe that. It's like I don't believe I would have the capability to not like, you know, that motherfucker, you know. But I don't got room for one of them relationships. So fuck kids as it stands. Any kids I have, y'all, is gonna be by accident, just to let you know. But they will be loved and taken care of. But that's the only context where I feel like a parent should do that. But if I had a kid, yeah, that I would start building up their money, and it's like it'll be a savings account that they wouldn't know about. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. If they had a job, I'd take a reasonable amount of money, and then when they get ready to leave, I'd be like, look, son, here go this $1,000. Or however much it was that you know I was taking from them, because you know I just wanted you to just have a little bit. Unless I got a child that saved, I keep saying son or daughter, that saved already, then it'll be stupid to do that. I'll be like, no, they save themselves, man. I don't need to goddamn play that shit, play that game with them, you know. Or put it in like a savings account or some kind of account that make more money so they'll be started out. That'll probably be what the best thing to do with it. Because I think like if you put $1,000 in, okay, my numbers are off. Cole Jackson don't know my numbers is off when I'm saying this shit. But there's a certain type of account. It might be an IRA. It's some kind of account that if you put $1,000 in for a child, and I think if you put $100 in a month, after like 10 to 15 years, that account grows to $1 million. It's something like that. So by the time a child is, you know, finna get to 35, they'll have like that amount of money. My numbers are off, but it's not a lot to start. It's not a lot to pay monthly. And if you keep doing it consistently in that account, it's gonna keep growing till it get to a point where it's like you're financially taken care of for a good bit. Well, probably not if capitalism keep going the way it's going, but yeah, that's my thoughts. Fuck parents who be doing that shit, man.
This shit is just trash, bro. Like you're responsible for your kids, not the other way around. And again, you can teach them responsibility. You can teach them money management without and making them have to pay bills that they're not supposed to pay. That's your job. When you decided to have that motherfucker, that's what you said. I'm gonna provide all of these things for this child until they are of age. You can't let them get a little part-time job and then be making them pay bills. And I'm talking about some of y'all don't even be. You got to pay half the water bill. Some of y'all get these kids like full-ass bills and be taking their money every month. Like, that's so fucked up to me. My kid don't owe me that. Like I said, extra shit you want to buy that's ridiculous, that's your money. If you want to do that with it, cool. I'm not buying it, but you can buy it. But, like, I would never have my kid paying bills in my house. Like, nah, that ain't your job. You're going to have to pay bills one day. Enjoy this shit while you can, because it sucks paying these bills. I'm going to let you have this time, because when you get out here, it's trash. Trust me. You don't want to be out here. I just don't. I can't with it. And I had to have conversations with parents about this shit. Like, this. Why are you doing this?
Parents be out here throwing out trauma like Oprah. Goddamn, you get trauma, you get some trauma. Everybody gets some trauma. Like, and I tell people like, trauma is a very, very strong word that I think has levels to it. Right? I think you can be traumatized level 1, and I think you can be traumatized level 10. And I also think that you don't even. Maybe somebody didn't. Maybe we don't call everything trauma, right? You know, so I tell people that I got baloney trauma. You know, because I never eat fucking bologna again. Fuck bologna. You know, and but maybe that don't have to be called trauma. You know, maybe that's just like I'm compromised. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know what I'm trying to say, but I think that like the conversation about trauma has made it to where people who don't understand how frequent people become traumatized feel like calling everything trauma becomes, you know, just becomes another buzzword, you know. But man, the shit that we end up with because of our parents is outlandish, man. They are how we are. So the shit we don't like about ourselves, so high likeliness that shit came from our parent in our childhood, you know. And even didn't come from your parents, it came from somebody in your childhood. And the next place is, you know, relationships, you know, where like that's the shit that starts changing you at that point.
Yeah.
You know, well, what was your relationship experiences like or whatever. But anyway, yeah.
All right. Well,
Thanks for that letter, Miss Cinnamon.
Before I get into my Reddits, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, I'm excited. There's only 2 games I'm gonna be, because you know I play Sims. I don't really like expand out too much, but I love Breath of the Wild. And next Friday is when the follow-up, the sequel, comes out for that. And then next month, Diablo 4, which I played a little bit during that weekend, but not enough. The server was crashing and shit, so I didn't really get to play it as much. But I am looking forward to Zelda, so that is what I will be doing indefinitely. And I got to figure out, so if you're gonna play Zelda, Nintendo has this thing where they're doing, you can buy 2 vouchers for $99 and get 2 games. Now, the only caveat to this, obviously they have to be digital games, but also it's only the ones that like are direct ports for like Nintendo, like Zelda is on Nintendo only. Because Zelda is $69.99 and I paid $99 for 2 vouchers. So I got Tears of the Kingdom and I can get another game that's like $60 at some point.
Listen,
you have a year to use it.
Listen, I'm not a person that asks for very much, but I'm not beyond receiving gifts. So any million billionaires over in Mozambique who happen to be listening to this show, send your boy a voucher for a Switch. You know, send Red some gift certificates for some Nintendo games. Whatever. If you're a billionaire and you're listening to this, hook us up, okay? I was looking up wealthy motherfuckers in Mozambique, and they got some billionaires over there, goddamn.
Hilarious.
So one of them billionaires' grandkids, if you listening, skim a little bit off the bottom. They won't know. And help us out. We'll shout you out. Send us your name.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to it because I like Breath of the Wild.
Better get that shit in as much as you can before this Diablo come out, because I'm trying to play Diablo with somebody.
I know. I'm gonna be there. Like Zelda, because I have such a one-track mind when it comes, like when I'm playing something, I'm playing it. So like Zelda come out Friday, and for this entire fucking month, I'm gonna be playing Zelda. When I come home, like, huh?
You're gonna beat that shit. Are you like a Zelda perfectionist? Like, do you like try to collect all of the different suits and all of the different?
It's too much to put. So you would have to play quite a bit, and once I beat the game, I'm not as inclined to go back and do so. So I have to do stuff before I beat the game, because like I'm less likely to go back and like clean up a bunch of shit or like get collectibles or whatever. So, but Zelda, if it's like Breath of the Wild, it's a huge fucking game. Like that, it's a whole open world and there's so much to do. And I think that this one is gonna be like that too. So I'm probably gonna have to just like put it down when Diablo comes out and feel like I don't even think I'll have beat it by the time Diablo comes out. Because I'm an adult that has to work. So I can't just like sit and play for hours. And my attention span, I have to take breaks and shit because I get tired. So I probably won't have beat it by the time, because Diablo come out, is it the end of June or mid-June?
Mid-June, I think.
It's the mid-June. I was thinking Zelda didn't come out to the end of May, but it's next week. It's next Friday. So, but yeah, I don't usually play new games when they come out. And I didn't play Breath of the Wild when it was popular. So this will be my first time playing a game where everybody else is playing it at the same time, which is gonna kind of suck, because like when I get stuck, I am not above going and Googling how to get out of a situation or how to beat something. And so when you're playing a game when everybody else is playing it, it's less likely that I'm gonna be able to find those answers. So I'm actually gonna have to like try. I'm not above Googling how to get out of something in a game. I ain't gonna sit here for hours. Somebody else already figured it out. Just go look it up. All right, let's see. I have a bunch that are like, bitch, why you just didn't mind your business? That's the theme for the Reddits that I chose. Is like, just mind your business. Why are you minding other people's business? Am I the asshole for doing a public record search on my friend and confronting her about her paid off house and gambling winnings? Bitch, that's not your business.
Confront?
Bitch, it's
you
not
mean
your
congratulate? Niggas be jealous for no goddamn reason.
Bitch,
you salty.
Not your business, man.
I mean, it's like I went through the public fund and found out that my friend was a fucking child molester and kill somebody, but yeah, confront them about that shit. But about having a paid off house and being good at gambling, like it's only a gambling problem if you're losing. Motherfucker, if you're winning, it is not a gambling problem.
No. Am I the asshole for telling my friend that he should see his parents more? That one really hit me because I done had to get people together about my relationship with my dad. Mind your fucking business, because you don't know about shit over here, okay? You love your dad. You want to hang out with that nigga all the time. That's your business, and I'm not telling you that you shouldn't. But what you're not going to do is tell me what the fuck I should be doing over here, okay? You want to go and hang out with your pops? Cool. But shut the fuck up about me and mine.
I was listening to one of them Reddit stories on TikTok, and it was this girl who was like putting pressure on the boyfriend to go visit the parents, and he gave in silent on the whole trip. When they got there, the first thing the daddy did was punched him in the face and threw him on the floor. And like she was jarred. She was like, what fuck going on? And it's like, he was so mad that she saw him experience that like it fucked up their relationship. And she was like, I don't know what to do. You need to go the fuck back in time and say, don't worry, we ain't got to go meet your folks.
Mind your fucking business. That's what you need.
Go mind your goddamn business. You don't know what trauma these parents done gave folks. Don't take the chance. Don't take the chance.
Would I be the asshole to insist my neighbor keep a yard schedule? Again, mind your fucking business. It's their yard. Why is you...
a yard schedule. See, and this is the thing. Because if they really didn't keep their yard up, you'd be saying, should I confront my neighbor about their yard being fucked up? But you saying that they need a yard schedule, meaning they keep the shit up. You just want them to keep it up when you keep your shit up. Fuck you. Mind your own goddamn grass.
Let's see. Am I the asshole for telling my brother he can't stay committed to his late wife forever and he needs to move on? You don't get to decide that from him. Mind your goddamn business. He can move on when he wants to. Shut up. Why are you bothered? Let him mourn. Shut the fuck up.
What happened for you to say this? Like, were you trying to hook him up with somebody and he's like, no, I still miss Misty for too much, man. I can't, I'm not ready for anybody new. And he's done that too many times for your discomfort. Like, you uncomfortable with his fucking wife dying. Man, what? Mind your goddamn business.
And then, am I the asshole for wanting to limit my brother-in-law's access to my unborn daughter because of his dating choices? What the fuck does his dating choices got to do with him being around his niece? Mind your fucking business. You just bothered because he out here getting it. Let him get it. If he want to be a playboy, let him be a fucking playboy.
What's
He's
the
your
worst?
brother-in-law. He ain't your husband. Shut the fuck up.
What's the worst he could be doing that would make you say, I don't want you around my young daughter?
Young
I mean, he
girls?
could be gay. This is America. He could be gay.
Yeah. Young girls, like, where they're legally, but they're of legal age, but it's still like creepy, maybe. That's the
Yeah.
only I can see.
I mean, I guess he could pay prostitutes, escorts.
Yeah. I don't know.
But those are the only things I'm seeing is like, I don't know. I want to do the first one and the last one.
Okay, so all right. So am I the asshole for doing a public record search on my friend and confronting her about her paid off house and gambling winnings?
I just want to see what a hater sound like.
Okay, she's 23. Her friend's 22. And is she young and then paid it off and you mad?
Which you probably know it ain't her money that paid it off. Wait, if she gambling out here, it could be.
Yeah.
What could you find on, before we read that, what could you find on in the public that gives you insight to a person's gambling? Unless they call in the lottery gambling and you find out that they won the lottery.
Yeah, I don't know.
Let's see.
All right, she's 23, and then she got two friends that are 22 and 23. I, Clara, have been friends with Marie and Jessica since middle school. We all work at the same big box retail store, and we've all worked our way up to being department managers. We see each other almost every day and share a lot of personal details of our lives, which includes discussing stuff like bills and budgeting. I live with my parents. Marie lives in her grandma's basement, and we thought Jessica still lived in her grandma's old trailer, which is the reason she gave for never having people over. Recently, there was some local drama, and the land for Jessica's whole trailer park was abruptly sold to a corporation, which means that everybody's leases are up in the air. We told Jessica that she could stay with us for a while if the corporation kicked her out, and she said she appreciated it, but everything would be okay. Marie's uncle is a lawyer and swooped in to get everyone in the trailer park together for a case, but when Marie asked him about how it was going and about Jessica, he said that he didn't know who that was. So I did a public record search and discovered that 6 months ago, Jessica had bought a $250,000 house and land outright. After we asked, semi-jokingly, if she was a drug dealer, Jessica admitted that she won about $700,000 gambling 2 years ago, and she didn't want to tell anyone. Marie and I were upset, and I told her that she not only left us to worry about her living situation, but that we had commiserated with her about everything from our tires going bald to couponing for food to fighting hospitals about medical bills that aren't right. She countered and said that she's not set for life or a millionaire, and that I shouldn't be looking her up online anyway and being nosy. Am I the asshole? Yes, bitch.
Yes, you the asshole. The fuck? What the fuck? So her argument is that if we knew you had money, you could have helped us get some tires and pay for some groceries. Like you got enough money to have given us some of that money.
And that's why she didn't tell y'all motherfucking asses, because she knew that y'all were the kind of bitches
goddamn better
that would have been in her pockets. So she didn't tell y'all shit. She just kept letting y'all think that she was still living in the trailer park, and she just kept it moving. How you mad at her? She don't owe you that. I don't have to tell you about my finances, bitch. You let us think that you were struggling like us. So what you really mad about is that she had this money and didn't give you none of it. That's what because really, like, why would you care otherwise? You sound crazy.
You sound very crazy.
She did an update.
Oh, because they don't flame broiled ass in the comments.
I do not want her money, and I have not asked her for money. At the time, I told her I didn't like that she commiserated with me and Marie about things like, for example, finding a quarter behind the vending machine and being stressed about a medical bill, or waiting just a little longer to get new tires because ours are bald. And she knew she was flush with cash, and Marie and I thought we were all in the same boat. But why does it matter? If you weren't gonna ask her for money, Why could she have not just been a listening ear, a good friend? Y'all going through this. I'm here to listen to you go through this. And yeah, that's fucked up. What's wrong with that? Because you saying you don't want her to help you. So even if you had known that she had the fucking money, what difference would that have made if you weren't going to ask her for no money to help you out? She was just being a good friend and listening. Right? So like you sound crazy even saying that. Like, oh, I didn't want her money. She just, she listened to us go on, and we all thought we were in the same boat. Okay. Girl, you're mad because you wanted, you would have asked her for money. Okay. Jessica was smart enough to know that you bitches would have asked her for money. So Jessica won that $700,000 and smooth kept her mouth shut, as she should have. Jessica went and bought her a house outright for $250,000, and she just sitting on the rest of her money as she should. And you mad. You just fucking mad. Mind your fucking business. You should, because when she said she was straight, you talking about she had you worrying about her situation. She ain't have you worrying about shit. When you asked her about what was going on with the trailer park, she said, I'm gonna be fine. And y'all could have left it at that. You decided to keep worrying about her. You decided to keep worrying about where she was gonna live at. Jessica was straight. She ain't asked y'all to worry for her. You chose to do that shit. She told y'all she was good then because she wouldn't tell you shit. You go behind her back looking her up and shit. You were being nosy. Sure were. You are the asshole. Yes, ma'am. Mind
Very
your
much
fucking
so.
business.
Mind your fucking business and your life will be spared. Juvenile. 1999. Listen, man, she's a hater.
She's a big ass hater.
She woke up a hater. She went to sleep a hater. She made that update as a hater. And that's just what it is. Because there's no substance to your argument.
No.
There's no substance to your argument. I would have been like, bro, I did not know you was doing it like that, my boy. You got to bring us out to the crib. I know you got a grill out there. $250,000 house. Shit, well, that shit don't have to be an amazing house actually these days.
Not these days. Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta bring us out to the crib, my boy. I'm still paying for some meal. I'm gonna be the fucking person that I've been the whole goddamn time. I'm gonna ask for gambling tips. That's what I'm gonna do, bro.
Because you want $700,000.
How you get that $700K? Like I'm trying to get in on that. So they didn't look up anything that specifically told them about the money that they made gambling. It just told them that they bought the house.
Yes.
Why didn't the uncle know who she was?
Because she don't live in that trailer park no more, so she's not one of the people that are trying to find somewhere else to go. She don't live there no more.
Gotcha. So she wasn't even over there. That's why
she wasn't even over there.
When it said that, I was thinking, oh, she been using a fake name under her money. That's what I thought. I was like, okay, but I got it now.
No, she just don't live there no more. She just didn't tell them when she moved because it ain't y'all fucking business. Jessica moved in silence like Jesus supposed to do.
That's what she did. That's exactly what she did.
Y'all bitches are haters. Obviously, your response makes me. She knew. She knew how y'all were, and she was like, you know what? I ain't even finna tell these bitches this shit. I'm gonna go move in silence. I'm gonna get this house and get out of this trailer park. I'm gonna put the rest of this money back, and I'm gonna keep work. Cause look, Jessica could have been like, cause there are people who would have won $700,000 and felt like they were set for life. Jessica got the good sense to know that is not going to help her throughout her entire life. This bitch kept working at this the retail store that y'all are all at. She knew better. She knew to keep working. Y'all just hating. Just fucking haters. Mind your business. All right. The other one that you wanted to do was, am I the asshole for wanting to limit my brother-in-law's access to my unborn daughter because of his dating choices? Again, I don't know why it's so difficult for y'all to mind your business. Okay, so this is a 31-year-old female. Her husband's 33 and her brother-in-law is 31. So y'all, he good and grown and do what the fuck he want to do in his private life with his bitches. All right, dummy account because the relevant parties are on Reddit. I am pregnant with a girl. My husband has a younger brother who he's very close to. However, I recently told my husband that I don't feel comfortable with the idea of his brother spending time with my daughter once she's born. It's not because of my brother-in-law himself. We're not close because we're not close, but he's fine. The issue is his life choices. He's not married, has no intention of getting married or having kids, and dates only for sexual purposes. He dates multiple women, and the only thing he has in common with them is that, like him, they are extremely good looking. He's highly intelligent, yet he has no interest in meaningful relationships. I spoke to him about his choices a few years ago, and after accusing me of being moralistic, he claims that he always uses protection and he never leads the women on, which I call BS on, as I can't imagine any woman with an increasing ticking biological clock would be willing to be in a relationship which she knows doesn't have a future. Not to mention, what woman would want to be with someone who may not even remember your name in a year's time? I mentioned this to my husband. However, he called me an asshole and said that it was ridiculous to limit our daughter's access with her uncle just because I don't agree with his legal dating choices. Bitch, if you don't shut the fuck up, you mad because the brother-in-law is sexy and out here fucking bitches. That's all I heard. He ain't bringing people to the house. He's not involving y'all. He's doing what he wants to do as a grown man. Okay, he ain't out here irresponsibly making children that he's not taking care of. He's decided that he don't want to be married and he don't want to have kids, and he's upfront with the people about that. And then these women are the sentence. I can't imagine any woman with a biological clock ticking. Your bitches be killing me thinking that everybody want to have a fucking baby. Bitch, that's your life. That's what you want to do, and that's great. There's nothing wrong with that. But I don't know why it's so hard for you to fathom that there are women who don't want to fucking have a child, that don't want to be an incubator, who don't want to have to take care of this fucking crying ass, shitting ass, spitting up ass kid. Okay? That's your life. That's what you want. There's plenty of women who don't fucking want that, and he out here fucking those women. What do you care? Mind your business.
Come on, bro. This issue clearly predates this moment. Like, this is giving off I've always been jealous of my brother vibes. This gives off my brother is more attractive than me vibes. This gives off my brother been able to get women and I haven't vibes. Like, no, that's what this is. The
wife,
off.
Not the brother.
Oh, this is the wife.
The brother's wife is saying
this.
Oh,
man. Okay. Who's writing the Reddit letter?
The wife. She's writing saying that is she an asshole for saying that she don't want her brother-in-law around her child.
Oh, damn. I fucked up my whole little spiel I just gave.
Oh, yeah, no. It's the wife writing in.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, no, that's
now, I don't know if you want to fuck him and you didn't get an opportunity to, you ended up with his ugly brother instead. I don't really know, okay? But it really sounds like it's some hate in here somewhere, because I don't give a fuck if I'm married to the brother. I don't give a fuck what my brother-in-law out here doing. Long as you don't bring these like scandalous bitches to my house, I don't give a fuck what you do. And you haven't said that he's been bringing strange women around you. You just know he fucking people, and that bothers you. Because if you don't mind your business, and you gonna keep him from being around his niece because you don't like his life choices when it comes to his relationships that have absolutely nothing to do with you and won't have absolutely anything to do with her, mind your business.
What are you thinking is going to happen? Like, what's the worst case scenario of uncle being around niece? You think he gonna raise up to be a loose scallywag that just have sex with attractive people with no substance behind them? Like, is that what you think? Like, in the time that uncle is ever by himself with her, you think he gonna be like, you should grow up and be a hoe? It's, marriage and monogamy is just overrated. No, you're gonna feel like it worth something because of your parents, but nope. Get out here and hoe. You think that's like? Does she think that's what the uncle finna do?
Mind you, this is an unborn child. She's pregnant right now. You already banning him from seeing a kid that ain't even made it out here yet. based off of some shit that has absolutely nothing to do with you. Again, it'd be different. Look, I got a cousin. He hasn't done this in a while, but like every Thanksgiving, he was bringing a different bitch to Thanksgiving dinner, and we knew we weren't finna see this bitch next year because he don't ever bring the same girl twice. And so we were cordial and nice to them, but it's like, I ain't gonna see you again. So like, girl, whatever. He ain't even doing that. Okay. You don't even have to meet none of these women. Like, you're literally upset because you feel like his life is not moral enough for you. And you trying to speak for these women, talking about the women can't possibly be okay with it. I can't imagine them not wanting to be somebody, have somebody they could settle down with and have a baby with. Again, that's you and what you want for your life. There are women who don't want to have kids and don't plan on having no kids. There are women who would love to just have a physical relationship with a man who understands the fucking rules and ain't gonna be bothering them about where they at or where they going or what they got on or none of that shit, because that ain't the nature of our relationship. There are plenty of women who be fine with that, ma'am. You're not one of those women, and I'm not telling you that you have to be one of those women. What I'm telling you is you need to shut the fuck up about other people's choices. Mind your fucking business. This ain't got nothing to do with you. You've created a whole situation that did not have to be. And the fact that you said a couple of years ago you sat him down to try to talk to him about this, and he went off on you, as he should have. Because, bitch, who are you to tell me how to live my life? Who are you to tell me that I don't need to be out here living life and happy? You think I don't want to be like you, okay? My brother looked miserable with your ass, okay? I'm not going to live life like that. I'm going to be out here and be footloose and fancy free. I don't understand why people just mind your business, bro. Like, again, I've said on the podcast before, I don't have a problem with men who want like a traditional wife that stay at home and just have his babies. I ain't gonna never tell a man he shouldn't want that. I ain't the bitch for you, okay? You're not gonna get that out of me. But I'm not gonna tell you that now. I'm gonna tell you wrong if you saying every woman's supposed to blah 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 fucking blah. You can say with your wife what you want your wife to do, in the same way that I can say what I want my husband to do. I don't have a problem with that. I know I'm not the one for you, but that don't mean that you wrong for wanting that shit. But when you start telling people how they supposed to be based off of what you want, you can shut the fuck up. Okay? So, ma'am, you're definitely the asshole, and you need to shut up. She did an edit. I probably should have clarified that he generally goes on apps like Tinder, which makes it worse, as the women he dates tend to be of a certain type. The judgment. You so fucking judgy. It ain't your business. If he was picking prostitutes up on the side of the street and paying them, this still wouldn't be your business as long as he ain't bringing them hoes to your house.
He's using Tinder to meet. He's only swiping on specific type. Ma'am, he probably swiping on every woman on Tinder. Just swipe, just making a song out of it. Like, but what difference does that make? What difference does that make? Like, there are absolutely horrendous people who are monogamous, who date one person at a time, who ain't got no goddamn business around kids.
Yep.
And there are different measures that you should be using of how to determine whether somebody should be around your kid outside of the kind of people that they date and the decisions that they make in engaging with the opposite sex. That is not a good gauge for determining that, unless you know for a fact that they be beating their ass or something. Like, if they are domestic violence on that shit,
This comment is so I was going through the comments. This person said, my narc mom hates kids, yet always hassled me to have them. I finally realized that she thought it was unfair that I had my life to myself and didn't have to worry about taking care of kids. She wanted me to be punished too, since she managed to not kill us all with her neglect and abuse. No thanks. Only the golden child provided her with grandchildren, who she lost interest in not long after the toddler stage. She's a rotten piece of work who I had to cut off years ago. And that's another thing. You want people to have to deal with the shit that you deal with. You mad because people out here vacationing in the south of France and shit, and you sitting up with spittle on your shirt. That's your choice. You chose that. And they chose to not have kids and be able to spend. Kids cost money. You can save a whole lot of money if you don't have children, but you also don't get the other things that come along with having children. And those are the decisions that everybody has to make for themselves. What's important to you in your life is what's important to you in your life. And for some people, that's creating a legacy and having kids and being surrounded by all of that shit when they're old and great. And for some people, it's seeing the world and traveling and getting it in wherever the fuck they want to. And nobody's wrong in either of those situations. But when you start telling people what the fuck they have to do, then bitch, you become an asshole.
And just I want to add, for some people, it's about having a barrage of beautiful big black booties in your vicinity constantly, whether you use protection or not, which shouldn't matter in terms of whether they are an appropriate person to be around your children.
Somebody said it's giving my brother-in-law rejected me. And that might, I get it. He might be the fine brother. You had to settle for the ugly brother. And now you just mad.
They got a little baby that looked like Oscar the Grouch, mad because, you know, you ain't have a baby that looked like whatever you think that baby would look like with your brother-in-law.
Because she did mention specifically that the brother-in-law is very good looking and he has a tendency to date really good looking women. Did you not make the cut, bitch? Were you not good enough looking for him? Are we a little sour about that?
And I wonder how she noticed. Like, it is like he always bring, like, how did she always end up seeing those women?
She probably don't. Her husbands and wives talk about shit. The husband and the brother are close. The brother probably talked to the husband, and the husband probably, because he like, damn, that nigga living a life. Be telling his wife about it, and she's taking it like, oh my God, he's sleeping with women he met on Tinder.
Yeah, she's a looker. Wow, you know how white men be talking about women. Yeah, you should see who my brother's dating now. She's a looker. If I wasn't married to you, I'll be out here with my brother. It's probably some shit like that. He probably living his life vicariously through his brother, and she tired of hearing that shit.
She hates
like she mad at brother just because she ain't finna be mad at husband, but she mad at brother because, you know, husband is big up in his lifestyle, and it's like, I can't believe you showing my husband shit that make him feel like he would have somebody else in a different life if I wasn't here. Like, how dare you
live his life? Shit.
How dare you?
Tripping hard, man. Like, you're definitely the asshole. Mind your business. That's the PSA is don't take ACE inhibitors and mind your fucking business. That's all. That's it.
So we're going to have to figure out how we want the show to be structured in order for me to throw the news on here, because we already about an hour and a half in.
Well, I didn't pull back because you said you weren't going to do it this week anyway.
I know. But then we had a letter from somebody else, and then, you know, but I'm just going to highlight some of the news that's going on, in the sense that if you're trying to keep up with what's going on in America, I'm going to give you some highlights of what's going on. Right now, we are having debt ceiling issues. Do you know anything about the debt ceiling? I know you done heard that term as far as like they be on the news. You know what the debt ceiling is about?
No, I've heard the term now.
So the way that America works, which it don't have to work this way, but this is how it works, is that America just borrows money from other businesses, countries.
Oh yeah,
they just borrow money.
Trillions of dollars.
A lot of money. And America pays it back with interest, right? And America has never defaulted on that debt. And so it's beneficial for foreign countries to let America loan money, because they're going to get it back at an increase, right? So the budgets that the politicians are supposed to be coming up with are based on how much debt we have. And so one of two things can happen when negotiating those debts. Either you can get the debts down so that you're not spending more than you borrowing, or you can increase how much America borrows at this point. And at this point, we borrowing like damn in the trillions amount of money. And so over the time since this system was started, it's like the debt ceiling just keep being increased, which I feel a certain way about loan people calling me goddamn when America's goddamn keep borrowing money. But now we got to a point where they're like at an impasse at how they want to move forward with the debt ceiling. Between putting it off and figuring out other ways to manage a debt ceiling type situation, If the debt ceiling, if a budget is not met, what's gonna happen is our economy gonna be fucked up. This is when you start talking about government shutdowns. This is when you start talking about cutting social programs, cutting food stamps, welfare, all that shit. So keep up with that. The other thing you need to be keeping up with is Clarence Thomas has just been found to be a corrupt Supreme Court justice.
He just now been found to be.
Well, okay, let's go through what happened. And I don't want to say he corrupt right now because the way that they crafting it is like maybe he ain't corrupt. Maybe he just made some bad decisions, you know. But evidence is starting to give
Clarence Thomas the benefit of the doubt.
Evidence is starting to show. Yeah, Clarence Thomas made a comment early in his career about how liberals have been treating me like shit, so I'm gonna make them. They're gonna pay for it essentially, you know. So, but it is it's a very prominent position in our society, and so I'm gonna, you know, give it its due diligence, not because Clarence Thomas is in it, but because it in the position that it is significant. So Clarence Thomas has essentially been treated to a bunch of gifts by somebody named Harlan Crow, which is just a billionaire motherfucker that he known since he got on the Supreme Court. Now, this ain't like this was a long-term friend before that. You know, not only that, but Harlan Crow has been found to be in front of the Supreme Court on cases, right? Not only that, but it's come out recently in the last few days that Kellyanne Conway actually funneled money from I
ain't heard that name in a while.
Yeah, from a conservative donor to Ginny Thomas. And so it's like what is looking like is happening with the evidence that we're getting is that while not overt, Clarence Thomas and Ginny Thomas have been using, let me not say using, but they have been allowing people to give them things and donate things to them, likely with the idea that they would get some kind of, you know, consideration when it comes to decisions that the Supreme Court makes. And now, that's neither here nor there. I mean, that's big. But what's come from that is that we have these people with lifetime appointments who make significant decisions for how our law is structured in America, and they don't have any code of ethics that they are led by. And I guess the reason is because people think that because they judges, they must be of the highest moral code that, you know, you can have, right?
Absolutely not.
And so now that it's been proposed that the Supreme Court have a ethics code that applies to them, the Supreme Court don't want that. None of them want that. You know, I guess they wouldn't look at it and say, no, Clarence just made a mistake without reporting that. Oh, you mean that $500,000 trip that Harlan Crow, that vacation that he paid for them to have? And you think he don't want nothing back from that? Either they too stupid to be on the Supreme Court, or the Supreme Court need to fucking be babysat in that way if they not going to be upfront about the shit. And especially Clarence Thomas, because he just always be on some fucking bullshit. I mean, he started his career on some bullshit with the goddamn sexual assault. And now here we are all these years later, and we seeing him being shady as hell with taking this money. But that's the thing to look out for if you want to, you know, kind of get into news, or you trying to figure out, you know, what I need to be listening to. Another thing right now that will probably impact you more directly than the other two things, especially if you ain't know no social services as far as the debt ceiling go, is the writer's strike. Now, any hardcore TV watchers back in 2007, 2008 who was watching Lost, who was watching Heroes, who was watching Grey's Anatomy, who was watching any of those shows at the time, the writer's strike fucked them shows up. Heroes went to shit. Lost had 2 seasons that they had to retroactively say didn't happen until the writer's strike came about. But there is a new writer's strike going on, and this is the gist of the problem, okay? So writers, there used to be a writer's room. Let's think about back when Full House was a TV show, right? There used to be a writer's room. It used to be 8 to 10 writers in there, and they all used to come up with fucking ideas and shit about what we're going to do with this show. The problem is the model of how shows go has turned into streaming. And so they've turned writing more into a gig economy, to where it's like, hey, we need you to write for this show. We're going to give you 3 weeks. You need to write this many episodes. We're going to pay you up front for that. And then it's a wrap. You're done. When writers have been getting paid residuals, they've been getting paid bonuses based off of sales. They've been a part of the industry. And it's like the rich are trying to put them out the industry. Now, it would be understandable if what was going on was that the whole industry was losing money. That's not the case. The case is the industry is gaining a shit ton of money from these new models that they use, these subscription models and these video on demand models. They're making a shit ton of money, but they're also at the same time trying to figure out how we can make more money by cutting the writers out. And let me read. If you bought a book that didn't have a writer, would there be a fucking book?
No.
If you had you wanted to see a movie, but there was no writer in it, there would be no words. Am I right on that?
Yeah.
So writers are a very, very big part
They're
of
essential.
the process. I'm not inclined to believe that Denzel Washington, while he can act very well and he can likely direct, he probably can't write some shit that a motherfucker's gonna like and be coherent.
Yeah.
He reads what somebody else writes. And so the writers are saying, listen, y'all are trying to write us out of this situation, and we have some demands to keep ourselves from being put out of this situation. And the CEOs and the owners are a problem. And this is the last thing I'm gonna talk about, but I'm gonna give y'all some stats about what's going on. I'm gonna tell y'all how much they've lost at this point. Since the writer strike happened a few days ago, within the week, Disney lost $3.36 billion in value.
Damn.
A day ago. Netflix lost $2.41 billion in value. Warner Brothers lost $1.41 billion in value. And the only thing the WGA is asking for is $429 million per year. The studio lost more in one day than they would have if given what they asked for the next 5,000 years. So this is fully about principle.
Mm-hmm.
This is about the wealthy trying to figure out how to maintain their wealth, how to keep that elite club of people who are wealthy up there, and not to give the others. Now, I'm going to highlight a couple of other things that going on in this writer strike per the negotiations that they're asking for, right? So what the writers want is streaming features. They want streaming features with a budget of $12 million or more receive full theatrical terms, including better initial compensation and residuals. So basically they saying anything that we write for that streams, we want the same shit that we would get if the movie was going to the theaters instead of it was streaming, right? That's what we want. And the offers that the industry is coming back with are abysmal, and they ain't even addressing some of them. So I'm gonna go through the ones that they've rejected. That we just rejecting your proposal. A guaranteed second step. They require a second step if hired for a screenplay for less than 250% of the minimum. They just rejected that shit. And they countered by offering meetings to educate creative executives and producers about screenwriters' free work concerns. So instead of giving us some money and securing our job and position, we just going to educate some people about something. They're gonna watch a video or do a PowerPoint presentation about some shit. Trash. Weekly pay. 50% pay upon commencement and remaining 50% to be paid out weekly over the writing period. Applies if writer is paid less than 250% of minimum. Writers above this threshold have the right to opt into weekly pay. They straight rejected that shit. And this ain't really shit that, like, this is the stuff that they're asking for is stuff that used to go on, that the way the industry is shifted to video on demand has changed. Mm-hmm. So it's not like these ain't outlandish demands. It's just like these companies say, no, we ain't gonna do that no more because we done shifted our model. So y'all ain't as necessary as you used to be. And it's more, but one of the more essential ones is involves AI. So essentially, the writers' room wants them to regulate artificial intelligence on certain projects where AI can't write or rewrite literary material and can't be used as source material, and nothing can be used to train AI. And this is very telling. They straight rejected that proposal as well, and countered by offering annual meetings to discuss advancements in technology. So what it sounds like is that a lot of these industries are probably about to start hinging upon AI to do a lot of the writing, because AI is influenced by people, but it sounds like they might be trying to take a chance of getting AI to write things instead of, allowing actual writers to write it. So I am on the WGA side. I am on the side of the writers. I'll never be on the side of the fucking wealthy, the 1%, eat the rich, put their head on the pike. That's billionaires shouldn't exist. That's my perspective, but this is just another thing that y'all need to be keeping up with if you want to be informed about what's going on in our society, but more so why your TV shows might be fucked up, at some point in the middle of a season where it's like, huh, what's going on? It's because the AI started fucking writing your TV show. The way the AI been coming hard, it sounds like maybe the AI may be able to write a show, but there is going to come some point in our future, if that's the route they go, in which we're going to be able to tell the difference between AI that has written something versus humans that have written something. I feel like that will be the case. Maybe not. Yeah. Maybe AI becomes so integrated and the people who act out what the AI said does that so well that we can't tell the difference. I don't know. Or maybe they just have a makeshift, like telling the actors if something don't feel right, as far as the AI, just kind of like freestyle it. I don't know. I feel like they're gonna try to make money regardless of what the cost is. Because when CEOs do something and make wrong decisions that make a whole shit ton of money, at the end of the day, if it was ultimately a net loss in some way, all they do is get fired, but they still got all that money they made. So even if this is a bad look for the industry, it could be a good look for millionaires, and they'll let this shit run for 10 or 15 years and let that shit crash, and they'll get out of it with their change and not care that it impacted the whole industry and a whole bunch of people that was under there. But writing needs to continue to be something that we involve in the system.
You need a human element to it. I mean, the AI is not going to be able to explain the intent behind this scene or like how it's like that. The people who write it are able to give that human element to it. And so I think AI would be able to come up with scripts and it would be able to come up with the stories, but I don't know that it would be the same as a person writing it. Because AI is just that. I mean, it doesn't have all the things, the human element to it. So I think we will be able to tell the difference.
I guess we'll see. But that's all I'm gonna throw out there with news. Some other shit, but that's all I'm gonna throw out there. As I'm trying to get back into news myself, because again, I was keeping up with news a lot because we were doing it on the show, and once we stopped, I just kind of stopped being in the news cycle. But like lately, I found myself back in the news cycle, and so that's where I'm gonna come back around with the news. Red's gonna do the Reddit letters, and I'm going to do the news. I don't know if I'm gonna throw no fucking social shit in there like Red used to do. I don't think I'm gonna throw none of that shit in there. I really don't care about the Nick Cannon and Kanye. I don't care about none of that shit. Like, not at this juncture. So it's not important for me to add those things in there. Maybe if a story is big enough that's trending that, is worth a conversation, maybe I'll throw that out there. But as of now, that's not something that I'm interested in having a part of the dialogue. But yeah. You got anything else on your mind?
I do not.
All right. Well, until we come to the next conversation.
We out.
Holla.